Hi, I'm Sinclair, and I'm here to talk about the philosophical and spiritual aspects of strap-on sex. For what are they asking? This is one of my favorite topics, so I'm glad to talk about it. I'm going to mention cock shame, cock confidence, and cock mindfulness in this little video. First of all, cock shame. When I was coming up and out of the feminist and lesbian worlds, there was a lot of shaming around my interest in penetrative sex and in strapping on and fucking with a cock. It's taken me a lot of time to untangle those things and to say, you know what, a cock is not always a weapon of the patriarchy, and a cock is not always a tool of rape, and a cock is not always something that is heteronormatively reproducing some sort of sexual act. It can be about me, about my body, about an extension of my interests, about an extension of my energy, about my transmasculinity, about all sorts of other things, about filling a hole, about getting that kind of chakra connection. You said spiritual, I said chakra, for pelvis to pelvis contact. And but, you know, I felt a lot of cock shame. I had girlfriends say, absolutely not, we cannot use a cock, that is a straight act. And I completely disagree. But it has taken a long time to be able to work through that. I think having to work through that and having to really look at where that's coming from and try to dig through some of the fears and look at those arguments with a lot of nuance and look at the individual relationships with a lot of nuance has helped me get to a place of confidence. And I just don't think it's possible to say that every sex act with a cock is bad, or every sex act with a cock is good, or every sex act with a mouth is bad or good. You can't make those kind of broad generalizations. All of these tools, all of these aspects of sexuality can be used as weapons, and they have been in many cases. Cocks have been a tool of the patriarchy, yes. Cocks have been a weapon of rape, yes. That does happen. But it's a minority case that ruins it for everybody else. There are a lot of really, really fun things that you can do with a cock that I highly suggest if you're into that kind of thing. And the exploration and the openness to doing it with somebody trustworthy that you trust is really valuable and really important to me. So once you can kind of think and untangle some of the cock shame, the shaming specifically around cocks, around strap-on sex, I think that you can get to a place of cock confidence where you are figuring out how it is that you can own it, how it is that you can drive it the best way for you and for your partners, how many times it is that you'd want to use a cock. I tend to be a 9 times out of 10 I basically want to fuck with a cock kind of person, but there might be a 1 time out of 10 kind of person, and they and me might not be particularly sexually compatible. So thinking about the ways that my sexuality has been really cock-centric and building it to a place where I'm sleeping with lovers who are also cock-centric and who want to explore those kind of things with me has been really key to my confidence. Having lovers who take my cock seriously, but not too seriously, not in a uber cock worship kind of way, or oh my god, everybody's silent, the cock is in the room. No, just oh, you're wearing a cock now, I see it, that's cool. Instead of, oh my god, that cock is wiggling between your legs. Do that again with your hip. It's so funny. It flops. Oh my god. It's taken a while to have a certain level of seriousness and a certain level of play combined in the middle to have some sort of balance. And to have partners who will take it seriously enough, but not too seriously. And that has really helped my confidence also. The other thing I want to talk about is my cock mindfulness. And by that, I basically mean that if you are strapped on and fucking someone with a cock, if you are penetrating anyone in any way, in any of their holes, with any of your objects, fingers, fists, tongues, whatever you're using to penetrate, you are entering into another person's body, and that is a serious and sacred act. We don't do this with other people often at all. It's one of the reasons why food is really sensual, right? If I prepare this beautiful plate of food and then give it to you, I get to watch you take this nourishment into your body. We don't violate the boundary of someone's skin very often, and sex, penetrative sex in particular, entering in past the skin barrier is a big deal. And every time you do it, every time, it is worth being grateful and being appreciative and not ever taking for granted that you have the right to do this or you just get to do it because you want to or because they said you could once. You don't ever get to say that. You don't ever get to call it in that way. Every time is special and specific and important, and that permission can be revoked at any point. Obviously, I have some experience with DS and with ongoing rules about where I can and can't access someone else's body. And I do expect to have certain amounts of access because we've explicitly negotiated that. But if that negotiation isn't there, if that mindfulness and honesty and permission isn't offered, don't assume it's yours. It's a beautiful gift to have someone else offer up a hole and say, yes, come inside me, and in all the ways. So those are my thoughts about strap-on sex, at least in this moment. Cock shame, cock confidence, cock mindfulness.